to show how I cut the pockets in the pulley styles of sliding sash windows. For those of you that see my blog, you know what the job is. For those that haven't, chance for you to have a look and a catch up. There should be a link somewhere down there in all the bump. We need a pocket in the styles so we can get the weights in on first installation and for any future maintenance, recording, whatever. So we've got a piece of wood in the style that comes out, and then we can insert the weight through that. Nothing complicated about that, I might hear you say. We just cut along there and take a jigsaw down there and then the piece will come out. But a very clever bit of design, old-fashioned design. We've got it with a V in that end and a lap at that end, so it just needs a screw to go in there to hold it in. So there you can see we've got a V and at the other end a lap. So that does present some problems with cutting it out. We can't just get a saw to go straight through because it's got that V, so we've got to cut halfway through, and because it stops at this groove where the parting bead goes in, we can't just saw all the way through it, so we've got to devise another method. I have had some discussions on some forums about different ways of doing this and most efficient ways of doing this, and it seems like there's quite a few people who use a tenon saw or a dovetail saw and just nibble at it. I found that pretty tricky because you're not getting much of a stroke and it's stopping up against the where the parting bead goes in. There's other people that have got all the fancy tools and they've got one of those whizzy things with a blade that just like that, and yeah, fine if you've got something like that, but if you're like me and you've not got too many of these fancy tools, there is a better way. What I have seen references to is what I think was called a pocket chisel. I'll have to check on that and see if I can find a photograph of it. But essentially it's a short bladed, very thin but wide chisel. So what I've done is I've got an old chisel and I've ground the end of it down. Hopefully that's coming out. Ah, that's it, yeah. So I've ground the end of it down so it's really thin, nice and smooth, and just down the depth that I need it to cut halfway through the styles. Here's one of the styles I've not cut yet. First thing to do is mark it out. It's going to be 200 up from the bottom. It's going to have a 20mm lap on it, and then working out from my spreadsheet that handily calculates out the dimensions of the weights. This is a lead weight, it's going to be 45mm square and it's going to be 438mm long. And I did an experiment earlier to see when it goes in at an angle how small I can make the pocket, and I've got 395 for this one. With it marked out, and I've taken the marks through to the other side. Next bit is pretty simple, nothing fancy about this. I'm going to cut down this groove where the parting bead is going to go, and I'm going to be using a jigsaw for doing that. So just to get the blade in, make, oh, lost my bit. Just drilled a couple of holes in there so I can get the jigsaw blade in, and then whiz down it both ways. just going slightly past the line at that end because that's where the V is going to be. Nothing accurate particularly here. Doesn't need to be accurate because it's all hidden under there anyway. So that's that groove cut. All we've got to do now is to cut the ends, and remember we want this point on that end and a lap on that end. So we're cutting through from both sides. First one, this one with an angle on it, and this is where I'm using me pocket cutting modified chisel. Now the bevel on the chisel does force the chisel to go in at a curve. So just marking out the top first. That's the line where I'm cutting. But here we go, starting at an angle. So that's nicely bedded in there, and you can see the end of the chisel going up in a bit. And a bit of rocking sometimes helps on that, but that's the first cut through. It'd be nice if I had a wider chisel as well, because I could do it all in one, but hopefully you can see that going in there. And then on the other end, bring it down so we can see it. Starting with a slight angle. Checking it for depth. That one. And that one. Then we can flip it over to the other side. This again. Just mark it off. And at the angle, and I could feel that when it got through to meet the other side. And I felt that go as well. And then the other side, I've actually got the bevel facing in. So, mark it off, and slight angle to start with. Checking the depth, because that's how far I've ground it back anyway. And the other cut. And see, it's just moved, because all that's holding that, or was holding that, was that bit of grain across there. So now we have a pocket that's cut, that fits straight back flat in there.